A majority of Black Americans are more apt to fall for conspiracy theories or believe the government is conspiring against them. That's according to the Pew Research Center in a recent study. The findings released this past Monday reveal that 8 in 10 Black Americans believe Black people are more likely to be jailed because prisons make greater profits off of them. Over 6 in 10 Black adults believe the criminal justice, economic, and policing systems are designed to hold Black people back.
The Pew survey shows that America's documented history of racist policies have played into the role of these alleged conspiracy theories. Additional findings are that those who say they face discrimination, among those who believe they face discrimination, 3/4 think that society is designed to keep them down. These adults also reported feeling a range of emotions, including 76% feeling angry overall, 53% saying they worried about their personal safety, 41% who felt depressed. Researchers surveyed just over 4,700 Black, multiracial, Black and non-Hispanic, and Black and Hispanic respondents for the study. Though published in an election year, partisan politics was not a focal point of the study's authors. I don't know. Like, are those things conspiracy theories? That the
I love
justice
that you threw
system
in
is
the
like
alleged part.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Look, not everyone is right when they think the system is out to get them on an individual level, but and I think a lot of the problems with policing in this country are not necessarily racial. I think sometimes the racial problems are overstated, and it's more that the racial aspect of it overlaps with or intersects with just low-income and poorer people.
Well, right. The racial aspect
system,
of driving while Black overrides the fact that you are driving a fancy car perfectly legally.
Right.
Yeah.
So
or that you're facing a police officer who just doesn't like that you probably make more money than him as a Black man. But I get where you're going.
Right. And sometimes the police, the SWAT team kicked down the door. I mean, obviously the Breonna Taylor story. Yes, that's a Black woman, but they've also done it to a lot of people of every other ethnicity, particularly in poor neighborhoods. I don't want anyone to think that
I have heard
the
so
problems
many
with police are only
stories
racial.
of white guys being shot in their houses when they're the ones who are calling the police.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are problems with policing that go beyond, and I also think because race has become more polarized and divisive as a subject in this country, it can be unhelpful even from the standpoint of trying to encourage criminal justice reform or police accountability. To only make it a racial issue actually turns people away from who might otherwise agree that, let's talk about it as a right-leaning libertarian person. Like, let's say it's government accountability. Let's say are our tax dollars being spent wisely, but buying SWAT tactical gear, militarizing the police department. Those kinds of things are what I say when I'm trying to convince people. But going back to the point of the survey, obviously in a lot of cases, Black people would feel justified in thinking that the policing system was skewed against them or was out to get them. Obviously, there was, stop and frisk when it was operating in New York was a pretty galling example.
Yet somehow
of a
that's
racist
the guy.
practice.
That's the guy who gets elected mayor in New York by a
Yeah.
resounding majority of Black voters in New York, right? So there is this
right.
intersection
there's that.
of the idea of what it means to feel protected and what it means to also feel at the same time that you are being treated unfairly in the system. Now, to your point and to the survey's point, the experimentation on Black people throughout history, the fact in places like North Carolina, if you were Black and had mental health challenges, they forced sterilization on you, all sorts of horrors that have been the stories that get passed down.
They didn't treat people who had syphilis.
Right, these stories get passed down in family history and in family memories. But the idea that this survey drops 146 days before the election is very interesting to me because of that sliver of Black male voters that Trump is going for right now.
That he's winning over.
And it is this idea that Trump is the guy who beats the system, right? And so this is also, or he's turning the system upside down. There is an appeal of conspiracy-minded folks and the Trump electorate, and it's now overlapping across what we would have considered traditional Democratic and Republican divides of race. But I did want to mention some of my favorite conspiracy theories.
Go for it.
That apparently Disney made the entire movie Frozen and all of the tchotchkes that come with it, all the marketing.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, to cover up for the fact in Google searches that Walt Disney had frozen himself to come back into the future. That is the reason why we are all subjected to let it go. That is the reason.
Least of the crimes of.
And the other one, I learned
Disney.
this from the interwebs. I love what I learned from the interwebs. Is that the Denver International Airport, not just a great airport to go, skiing or go, to go out west. It's the headquarters of the Illuminati.
Who are we to say? Who are we to say? We got to go there, check it out ourselves. We're joking, but it speaks to, and this, this is something we talk about on the show a lot. What gets called or insisted is a conspiracy theory by many in the media, respectable experts, et cetera, has been sometimes is conspiracy crazy. But, after going through the whole COVID experience, we talk about the lab leak on the show a lot. We've interviewed a lot now the consensus on that is changing. Now, the New York Times ran 2 op-eds in the last week about how it is a plausible explanation for COVID's origins. But there was like a 2-year period where if you said, it seems to me it's at least possible that this really dangerous research that the U.S. government funded in this one sub-safety standard lab in China where the first outbreak was like 15 miles away, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know for sure. And they said, no, that's a conspiracy theory. You can't possibly think that.
Well, it's not exactly as if China has been transparent about everything.
Right.
This might be shocking, right? That China does try to use its influence at the World Health Organization to make itself look better. I am just glad that we are no longer killing pangolins because of the concern that were the reason.
Yeah, the innocent little pangolin.
They're beautiful, scaly little creatures.
They're actually not that cute. The raccoon dogs are pretty cute, and they were getting blamed too. I don't know who's next on Fauci's animal kill list. That's my question.
The conspiracy theories, though, do tap into something once again, which I will continue to bring up: the idea of how much we are led by fear of the unknown, and your mention of COVID brings that into play. That science takes time to understand, and the fact that we even had vaccines as quickly as we did was a Herculean international coordination effort, but science is not a quick turnkey solution, and there's going to be some false starts, and so we will maybe one day know exactly how COVID
Well, I agree with that, but
SARS-19
scientists need
came
to
out.
be, knowing that that's the case, scientists making public policy recommendations that then were quickly forced on us at every level and then they're like, oh, well, we didn't know. When we said no masks, it's pointless. Then we said, get a mask now. Wear any mask, wear 2. Then I was like, actually, that wasn't doing any good. If you're gonna wear a mask, you should really wear the highest quality one or it's not gonna do anything. It's like, okay, that's 8 different ways. And then they'll say, well, yeah, we were just telling you what we thought. I'm like, but you weren't just telling us what you thought. This became, how many people could sit at a restaurant, what a school could be opened under these circumstances, a park could be open. That was all dictated by health officials. And so this is why have become, some people, very skeptical of experts, consensus, and authority figures, and all of that.
The skepticism
including black people.
The skepticism comes, much earlier than just what happened with COVID or even what happened with the Tuskegee experiments. The skepticism goes back to, figuring out that the Earth is not flat, and it is round. Robby,
you've gone
please
around
say
the whole
this.
thing, huh?
Thank you. Okay, good. We can, but how many people sitting here right now or watching can actually explain the science and math behind how we know the Earth isn't flat? Yeah. It's the idea of actually accepting
they went up
that
in
there
space
is.
And looked at it from both angles.
Well, they looked at it from the cheese moon.
Yeah.
Is how we know. So I'd like to give a little space, right, in all of this there are things that we don't know. We're not going to have immediate answers, and rather than jumping to a conspiracy theory, follow evidence, breathe, try to understand what underlies science, what underlies human behavior, and we'll hopefully get to a better place than the Illuminati headquarters in Denver. I mean, clearly it should be New York.
The first experts who looked through telescopes at the moon thought there were canals on the moon, because the veins in their own eyes were being reflected back at them. That's what the experts thought, and they were wrong about that because, as you said, science is a process, and they don't always get it right the first time.
Well, and the church did decide that they needed to kill Galileo for, not keeping the sun at the center of the universe. So, the superstition
they didn't kill him.
Science.
They put him under house arrest. They made him recant. It wasn't even that big a deal, Just kidding. More Rising right after this.